Welcome to another episode of Tamara Simon's Live, the Real Estate Power Chat. Today's guest is Carol Vanlandingham. Let me tell you, she's been in the business 20 years. She started out with her husband fixing and flipping houses. Got her license in 2016, did a small brokerage in Boulder, Colorado, decided that was a great place for her to start, expanded with eXp, found that was a perfect fit. So if you've ever been curious about eXp and why so many agents are joining, stick around because you're not going to want to miss this. But as you know, first things first.
This is Tamara Simon's Live, where real estate agents from around the globe come together to grow, collaborate, and expand their business. Where we take our inspiring conversations and put them together to create dynamic connections. This is the Real Estate Power Chat.
Well, thanks so much, Carol, for joining me today.
So excited to be here with you. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, let's start by giving my audience a little bit about Carol.
So I am a mom of 3 boys. They are now 24, 22, and 20. Been married to my fire husband. He's a fire chief. Started out as a firefighter for 30 years. And we currently live in Northern California. We lived in Colorado for 25 years, but he took a fire chief job out here about 2 years ago. So we're out here and I'm still running my business in Colorado, but I'm getting licensed here in the next 2 weeks. So pray that I pass the test.
Is that a big difference from California to Colorado? Has been a little different there?
It is. I've had to go through and just each state's different, as you know, if you're getting licensed, but I had to go through and take 135 hours just all over again. So yeah. And then I'm going to need to be mentored because the whole contracts and everything with California are way different than what I'm doing in Colorado. So yeah. So I'm excited though.
Fun. Well, let's tell them about a little bit about your real estate journey here, because you have quite a unique story.
Yeah. So having a husband who was a firefighter, he had a lot of days off, like 4 days off at a time when the boys were little. And he just kind of got the bug to start doing some real estate investing. So he took a couple of courses and started doing lease options and fix and flips and hard money loans. And we pretty much did everything. And this was in the probably early 2000s. And we did that for about 10 or 15 years. We ended up at one point, I remember telling him when he bought one house in Denver, he said, "Oh my gosh, this is a great property and we could probably make, X amount on it." And I said, "Okay." And then he got another lead from these same people. And I go, "Oh, you should take that." And then he got a third lead. And I was like, "Oh, you should take that too." So we ended up with 3 total rehab properties at once. And it was very, we learned a lot through that. It probably wasn't the smartest thing, but we learned a lot. We ended up keeping one of them in the Highlands in Denver for it was a rental for us for 10 years because we ended up not being able to flip it. But anyway, a lot of life lessons. So once we finished doing that, I decided in 2016, the boys were a little bit older. And I was like, I've been through corporate America and real estate seems to be a lot more fun. I enjoy working with people. So I decided to get my real estate license.
Oh, nice. And then you mentioned that you had started at a small boutique brokerage. What made you decide to do that versus, a big chain?
So that's a great question. So I went to real estate school and I actually had a mentor who's in Arvada and I had been talking to her quite a bit. And so I interviewed with some people might think this is overkill, but I interviewed with about 13 different brokerages because I wanted to make sure that I made the right choice.
Good for
and
you.
Not have to change a month or 2 or a year in. So anyway, I ended up going with that small brokerage in Boulder because they were just the right fit. They had some mentors. It was smaller versus big. I didn't want to really be on a team at that point. So, and I didn't really know what I didn't know because I hadn't really started in the regular real estate business. So, but I ended up being there for 5 years. And before I made the move over here.
Nice. So what brought you to eXp?
So I was a solo agent for a lot of years, and that's good and bad. One of the struggles that I had being a solo agent is that I just didn't feel like I had a lot of backup. Even though I was part of a brokerage, I just didn't feel like the brokerage, everyone was kind of out on their own. They were kind of like out for themselves. It wasn't like a huge, um, let's help each other kind of thing. So
Right.
anyway, when my husband took the job out here in California, I started looking at what I really needed to do. And since I knew I was going to need to be licensed in a different state as well, I wanted to kind of have more of a umbrella over and not have to like be with like Remax or somebody out here and, you know, the private brokers there. I wanted to be with the same organization. So when I started looking, I looked at Compass a little bit, and then I looked at eXp, and hands down, eXp is exactly where I needed to be.
And joining up with eXp, how did that fit in from, I mean, small boutique, you get all of this, you know, additional help. I mean, you mentioned mentorship. Have you been able to dive into a lot of that with eXp?
Yeah. So one of the things, do you mind if I tell a little story about
Go
kind
ahead.
of how I started thinking about making this change? So I loved my other brokerage. They were awesome. I actually did my broker owner, and we had mutual friends. He was out of the country, and we had a client that was looking for $1 million+ house. He wasn't around, so they called me. I went and showed him the house. Him and I ended up doing their purchase, and then they had $1 million+ house to sell. So we ended up doing both of those together, which was great. It was a good experience. As we were getting ready to finish, one of the things that he said to me was, and again, I loved this brokerage, but he said, you know, I don't think that we should split all of the stuff, like all of the marketing stuff that you were doing to try to promote your business, because that was more for you to promote your business. And that just really caught me off guard. I was kind of like, huh, you're the broker owner. Shouldn't you be trying to help me build my business?
Yeah.
Anyway, that really just kind of made me go, no, I'm just not sure this is totally the right fit. So when I came over to eXp, I actually, I had been following several different people. Krista Mayshore is one of them, Nolly Williams. And so I like looked at a lot of different people. I'm like, why is everybody, all of these people that I really respect, going over to eXp? So I started just interviewing some of them, and I ended up talking to Nolly Williams, who's my sponsor. And he's just like, you know, I've developed this whole curriculum and you have access to it. You don't have to pay me for coaching. You don't have to do any of that. And I was just amazed at the fact that, because Nolly is sponsored by Kevin Kaufman and Fred Weaver, and then Curtis Johnson is their sponsor. So I have a great organization above me of business partners, but all of them are just so willing to help and serve. It's not like what's in it for me. It's all, how can I help you? How can I better serve you? And that's what I've just loved about eXp, is that anywhere I go and all the people that I talk to, it's just everybody is willing to help you and do whatever they need to get you to that next level.
Yeah, it's that's the biggest thing that I found when I moved over with eXp was this collaboration.
Yep.
It's unlike anything I have ever seen in the 18 years I've been doing real estate. I've never seen anyone go, here, do this,
Right.
try this, you know, this worked great for me.
Yeah.
Because,
and I'll help you do this. You
yes,
know, let's walk you through the process. And
yeah, because real estate's such a competitive field
yeah, for sure.
that no one wants to share anything with you.
Yes. Yes.
And here everybody's handing you everything. Here,
I
try
know.
this, do this.
Yeah.
Here, let me work with you to get you here. So, I mean, that's just one of the things that I was just kind of mind blown over with eXp, because I did not expect that collaboration.
Yeah.
So, out of your real estate career, what would you say is the failure that you've learned from the most?
You know, I would probably say starting out as a new agent, and I'm actually a mentor in Colorado now with eXp. So all of the new agents that come on board, if they're in my area or whatever, they get assigned to me. So I've got about 5 mentees right now that I'm working with. And so just in doing that over the past year, it's really kind of helped me hone in on how do we help these new people get started to where they're not so overwhelmed, because it's a lot of information. So I would say probably the first thing is just to have a process. I felt like when I first started, I didn't really have a process. Usually newer agents tend to work more with buyers. And I had a lot of buyers my first year, and I felt like I was just running around with my head cut off and, sending them to go look at houses or setting up a search and writing there wasn't any kind of like a formal process. And so I just think that that's so important. So now I have like a 10-step buyer process. I have a seller's process, and I follow that with all of them. And I'm with all of my new clients. And then I'm teaching that too to all of the new agents that are coming on, just kind of how you need a process. You need to follow your process and, make sure that you're helping your people by being able to give them more of a system instead of just kind of being, oh, here's a house. So anyway, that would probably be it.
And I think I'm also a mentor, and I think that program is amazing for new agents, because there's so many that get in and they don't realize what's involved. So they have no idea what to do. So it's mentors like yourself that, kudos to you for showing them, that there is a better way to start out in real estate.
Right. For sure. For sure.
So now, what advice would you give another so that their life becomes infinitely better?
I would say, and I kind of felt like this before I came over to eXp, but it's just been exaggerated. Just the whole like servant's heart. I don't know if you've ever read that book, The Go-Giver.
Yes.
I love that book. I used to give that as a gift to my clients when we would close on a house, because I just loved all of the lessons in that book. I've tried to teach my boys, how to be a go-giver, not to be a victim, but to serve others. And what is your main passion, and how can you serve others? And you can serve others in all different areas of your life. But I just feel like service is just huge. And I've found that with all of my business partners, with Nolly and Kevin and Fred and Curtis, they just have such a servant's heart. And I just love that. I love the fact that they're wanting to help other people, whether it helps them or not. They're really just wanting to serve other people.
Absolutely. So. Well, and you've got a great upline. Kevin and Fred and Curtis, Nolly, they're all amazing.
Yeah.
I have the same upline.
Okay.
So that's very interesting that we, lines kind of come together here. So one more question for you. How would you describe the difference in your life from 5 years ago today?
I would say that honestly, I'm just in a different place geographically than I really thought that I would be. But also just knowing that I think this is what I'm called to do, is to help people find the house that they want and help people sell the house that they want, but not so much because there's money in it or it's a great income. I mean, yeah, it is, and that's all good. But because at the end of the day, I feel I am filled up by being able to help people in this aspect of their lives. So
that's awesome. And I think that goes back to the servant heart. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Now, if you could offer one piece of advice to those in the real estate industry, what would it be?
I would say that you really need, especially with this whole shifting market right now. I know a lot of people are just not sure where things are going. And, I'm in a lot of these real estate groups just because I've been going through the whole like real estate licensure here in California. And so there's like probably, 30,000 people in my CE shop group. We have a Facebook group that we're on, and they're just like, it's interesting just to see how they're searching to figure out where that right place is. And a lot of them are like, well, I don't want to interview a bunch of people. I want to interview, one or two. And so my advice would be that as you're getting started, and my advice for myself 5 years ago, you probably should look at all of the different places and really just dive in and ask a lot of questions. And because you don't know what you don't know when you haven't been in this industry before. So just ask a lot of questions. And, and one thing that I've learned over the last 5 years too, is that even though I'm I'm watching something, like I saw something the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember what it was. I called a girl. She's a real estate agent in Arkansas. And I was telling her something about an event that we had. And she was like, oh my gosh, I said, I'm ready to take my test in California. And she's like, oh my goodness. She's like, this Joe guy on Prep Agent, he's the one that I listen to. She's like, you totally need to follow him. He does all these YouTubes and he will give you so much information. And I didn't even call her for that. But my point is, I think everybody that you interact with during the day and during just your life, that you can gain something from them. I mean, that little nugget that she told me, I was like, I hadn't even thought about that. I'm glad I called you. So anyway, I think it's important just to see, you don't have to learn a ton of stuff from everybody, but I think everybody can provide you with small nuggets that will help you get farther on your journey.
Oh, that's great wisdom. So to close this out, because I know that you've got a lot going on and you're studying for your California test, but in this game called life, what is the one nugget that you want to take throughout the rest of your journey?
That is a really deep question.
It is.
I would probably say that, just throughout my life, I've had, a lot of challenges, physically with some health things, and I've lost both of my parents. And I would say I'm a Christian. I would say, keep your eyes on God, because I don't mean to get emotional.
No, that's not.
But when you lose that focus and you turn away, things cannot go the way that you think they should go. So I would say just always keep your eyes on God.
Well, that's a great nugget right there, because the closer you are, the more prayers are answered. So
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day and spending it with me.
Of course.
And I'm looking forward to getting to know you even that much more.
Me too. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so everyone knows, I will make sure that Carol's information is in the description. So if you want to reach out to touch base with Carol, you can definitely reach out to her. And then keep in sight, because we got more of eXp coming soon. So